Hi guys, Pepper Brown here once again, and today I'd like to give you some insights on what you can do to practice if you have carpal tunnel syndrome or tendonitis. How to practice with tendonitis. How do you practice with tendonitis? Well, first of all, tendonitis is kind of a long-term painful thing. Uh, so you got to be really careful. What happens with people who have tendonitis is that they ignore the doctors telling them to rest it because they're addicted to practicing. They ignore the chiropractors telling them to rest it. So they're addicted to practicing. So what you have to do is you have to be really careful because when you practice with tendonitis, it makes the tendons get inflamed again and they swell up, and that can cause long-term damage that you won't be able to get over. Case in point is the guitarist for Brand X, the late John Goodsall. He came down with tendonitis in his career, and he wouldn't stop practicing, and he gave himself really bad scar tissue, and he had to drop out of the music career for years because his arm was messed up. So what I'm telling you is, if you have tendonitis, now you guys are asking me, do you have tendonitis? Well, yeah. I mean, how did you get tendonitis? What do you think? Practicing all the time, right? Sure, why not? But there can be a lot of triggers, to tendonitis. If you have inflammation issues, you got to really police your diet and eat anti-inflammatory foods and don't eat foods that give you inflammation and lots of stuff like that. Without going into that aspect, you guys can look all that up in the endless videos on YouTube on that. I'm here how to tell you to practice with tendonitis. All right, here's what you got to do. Number one, the doctors tell you to rest it. So I'm telling you, pay attention to what they're telling you, man. You have to rest the hand. How long? How long do you have to rest your hand? Well, this has been going on here I'm on like week 9 here, okay? So, and I've had this before. I had it before maybe 2 times in the past 25 years. So, and I got very lucky because I was going to see this chiropractor, brilliant chiropractor, Dr. Arlo Gordon, and I recommend you guys look him up. I believe he is in north end of the San Fernando Valley now in Valencia or Santa Margarita, somewhere up there. Valencia, somewhere up near Valencia. Dr. Arlo Gordon, and he worked on me back in the 90s. He worked on everybody, and he worked on Billy Sheehan. He even worked on Ginger Baker, and of course he worked on Buckethead, who's how I found out about him. Was Buckethead was the one who told me about Arlo Gordon, so I went down and saw him, and he really straightened out my carpal tunnel syndrome, and I got tendonitis, and he told me, Pella, you got to rest it. I'm telling you, you're going to ruin your arm if you keep playing like that. So I said, okay, how long do I have to rest it? He goes, I'm telling you, man, you gotta give it some rest for about 12 weeks, man. I'm not joking here. So Arlo was very down to earth, and he helped me understand, don't try practicing if you got an acute case of tendonitis. But I can show you how to do it, how you can practice with tendonitis right here. And this is how you do it. Number one, first of all, you have to determine how severe it is. If it's so painful you can't even hold a coffee cup, well, you can't practice. You can't do that because it's going to make it worse if you put pressure on it. If you try practicing with tendonitis, Don't practice with tendonitis. Don't do it. If you got really bad tendonitis and it hurts like hell, that should be your signal to lay off, you know? Lay off the arm that's got tendonitis. Well, we're in luck as humans. We have an extra hand here, so we'll take our auxiliary hand and we can work our picking exercises. We can work our finger picking stuff. You bass players can work on your slapping and tapping and all the trick techniques you guys want to work on that you haven't had time to do with the right hand. If you're right-handed and your tendonitis is in your left hand, if your tendonitis is in your right hand, well, you have to work on left hand stuff. You know, pull-offs and hammer-ons, trills, do some legato training, you know, with your left hand, if the affected hand is the right hand. See what I'm saying? I know this brace is throwing you off, but if this is the hand that has tendonitis, don't practice with it. Practice with the other hand. If this is the hand with tendonitis, if it's a really bad tendonitis, just don't practice with it. Just wait. You can wait 2 months. Come on. You can wait. You guys can wait 2 months. How hard is that, you know? I mean, can't you do other things to bide the time? You have to realize that picking up the guitar and playing it, that's an addictive feeling to practice like that, isn't it? Am I wrong? You get addicted to wanting that feeling. Well, you cannot damage your hand anymore by over practicing with tendonitis. You can't. Don't ruin your arm, guys. Take my advice. If you got bad tendonitis, just don't push down, you know, just let it heal up. You've got all kinds of videos on YouTube on how to massage your hand and how to do little exercises and stuff like that. You know those physical therapist guys, the best ones, the most famous ones on the internet are Bob and Brad. You know that, right? Okay, so Bob and Brad have some great videos. There's a ton of people have videos on how to do stretching exercises with tendonitis, carpal tunnel, all that stuff. You know, you gotta be really aware of what's going on. If you got a lot of pain, don't practice. But if it's going away and it's tapering, which is, you know, the desired situation, it's going to take a while. It takes a while. I'm going to show you how to practice right now. So here's what you do. First of all, I'm wearing a splint. Wear this all the time, day and night. Sleep with it on. Why? Because when you sleep, you tweak your arm. You get in weird shapes. You can yank or tweak on your hand accidentally because you're asleep, right? So you want to brace that thumb, brace the wrist while you're sleeping. You know, if you take it off, we take it off to do this. You want to massage a little bit. You want to do these massages, right? And if you got really bad tendonitis, the massages can hurt. So just take it easy. You guys got to realize that this will go away within 3 months. You can do other things in those 3 months, definitely. You know, there's a ton of stuff to practice in music. There is a literal gigantic pile of paperwork you can get down in music and everything. And you have your auxiliary hand, right? The right hand, where you can work those picking exercises, those hybrid exercises. The bass players can do the slapping. Guitar players are doing slapping now too, right? What about, you know, Victor Wooten's brother, the guy who's just this insane guitar slapper, you know, and he plays a white Squire Strat, and he's Victor Wooten's brother, Reggie Wooten, is that his name? The Wooten brothers are insane. That's wild, you know. Okay, and then, you know, the left hand is where the tendonitis resides right now for me. So you just got to do the massages, right? You know, and I pull them here. You know, you can pull. Now you got to You got to you got to push the wrist down to stretch it, but go super, super gentle. Don't push hard. I'm telling you, don't do it. Just push gently off. It hurts, back off. Just push down gently. You're trying to get some stretching a little bit, all right? You can go like this. Now, the old Aikido guys used to do this to loosen up the wrists for all those Aikido flips and those wrist locks and all that stuff. You could do a real light version of that, right? And you could turn it into the palm this way. Do a little light version of that, and then the other way. But I'm telling you, if you got tendonitis, it's going to kill you. It's going to hurt like hell. So just back off. Don't push it. I'm going to reiterate this to the end of time on this video, because I'm serious, you guys. If you got tendonitis and it hurts, don't practice. End of story. Let it rest. Just let it rest. However, when it starts to heal up, you can start gently doing things like this. Right? Now, Bob and Brad have these ones where they push the wrist back. When I first saw those videos, I tried doing it. It just hurt too much. I couldn't do it. Some of these videos you watch, these guys are doing these exercises. You know, if you can't do it, don't do it. You know, don't push it, man. You're talking about damaging your wrist and your tendons permanently for the next 50 years if you screw it up. Okay, so just take it real easy. But you want to just give it a little bit of stretching, you know. Okay, with all that, you got these ones where you pull down like that. You know, you can do that. The web exercises, stretching the webs. All these little exercises are good. The massages, they have massage up here too. They push down here. So they put some lotion on your hand and get a spoon and rub it along there, or the end of a handle of a butter knife and do it. I don't use all that shit, you know. I just use natural remedies, fingers. Okay. So there's that. You can do that now. Okay. You know, and then you squeeze here. Squeeze here. If that hurts a lot, back off. You know, just do these massages. You'll know what your limit is. Okay, but the question is, how do you practice with tendonitis? Well, let me show you. First thing you can do is you get your device of music here. In our case, it's a guitar, right? See, sorry, I'm wasting time here putting my strap on. Okay, so step one, don't practice like you used to. Do it the tendonitis way. So, number one, every time I look for a pick, there are none. That's why Jeff Beck doesn't play with a pick anymore. He probably couldn't find any. They're laying all over the floor in his house, and he can't see them. Here's one. God, I hate that shit. All right, so if your hand has tendonitis, your left hand, go back to this, right? Why not, right? Practice that. And you get bored, do the next string. Now, what about the finger picking? Well, you can do a 4-finger pattern. And permutations of that pattern. So you can work on the right hand more during the next 12 weeks than the left hand, because you have to. You can't force the left hand. But here's how you practice with the left hand. You can do these basic exercises. I'm sure you guys all know about my exercises. The spider, where you can just barely push down on the string, and you lift up the fingers and you go to the next one. You know the spiders, right? You guys can look through all my playlists and see where the spider exercises are. You can look at that. The spiders are a good place to start. That way you'll keep your coordination going on, right? You won't atrophy your brain to hand coordination. The spider, then you can do this one. Now you see, I'm not pushing down, I'm just touching the string, right? Okay, so the spiders. Now, if you want to play a scale, how do you play a scale with tendonitis? Like this. If you want to play the scale, now I'm going to regress for a second and play the scale so you know which scale I'm doing. So don't do this. I'm just going to show you what it sounds like here. So we got this major scale. But now, don't do that. What you want to do is just touch the location of the note. You're not even pushing down on the string. You're just touching the location, and you're doing this, just memorizing and re-memorizing the location. You follow me on that? We're just touching the location. We're not pushing down on the string. We're just touching the string where the location of the note is. So you memorize the scale without playing it. You just touch. And if that hurts, let it go. Just stop. Okay? I'm telling you, I'm trying to protect you guys from fucking yourself up. Okay? You guys speak French, so pardon my French. Here we go. So we go. We're just touching the locate. We're not pushing down. We're just touching the string. Just touching the location. Now, here's the next step. Now, all you guys, I know all you guys need to do this. Everybody needs to do this because nobody does it. Unless you're a really serious musician like Jeff Berlin or somebody like that. You know, if you do this, you're going to increase your knowledge and your mental ability to hear scales and stuff like that. So you hit this note. I'm using A, so I'm going to hit the open A string. So now, can you sing that note? Da, da. So I'm going to touch the string. Da. And I'm going to go up the scale by touching, but singing the note. Da, 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 do, 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 do. How do you check it? Well, you have to push down on one note. You can double up and do that if you can, you know, just to do one note. If that's too painful, don't. I'm serious. If it's too painful, don't do that. But you guys need to cement that connection with the pattern here and the internal ear you have in your mind of hearing the notes. Do, 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 do. So you check it that way. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 da 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 da. See, I'm off a little bit. Da 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 da. Now you see, I didn't push down the string. I just touched the location of where the note is. You got to practice this way for a few weeks because you got to heal up that tendonitis, but still you can train your ear while you're doing that, still using your fingers. If your fingers hurt too much to do that, don't do it. Simple as that. Don't strain the tendons by overdoing it. Don't John Goods all out. Don't goods all out on us, man. Don't. You're gonna mess up your tendons really bad. If you try practicing with tendonitis, you are going to ruin your tendons and you're going to be screwed. You know, you're going to be worse off than Kurt Cobain. And he shot the wrong fucking guy anyway. Anyway, so here we go. Now, how about G minor? You guys know G minor? Here's G. Well, da 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 da. That's right. Okay. Da 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 da. See what I'm doing there? I'm touching the location. I'm not pushing down. I'm just touching the location and then singing the note. Do 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 do. I can do that and then da. That's the Tal Farlow technique. Tal Farlow was the famous jazz bebop guitarist from the 1950s and 60s who, from New Jersey, gigantic bear paw hands, played with Red Norvo. I mean, one of the greatest jazz guitarists that ever lived. And he made a comeback in the 80s with a couple of little records he made, and all the really incredible jazz guitarists looked to Tal Farlow. Like even John McLaughlin dedicated a piece to Tal Farlow. So Tal Farlow had this technique where he'd play a chord, right? And if he wanted a note that was in the chord that you couldn't reach, he would play it with the right hand and strum it with the pinky here. I'm not saying to do that if you have tendonitis. I'm just saying if you have to hit a note, you can push down with the right hand and then pluck it with another finger, you know. Yeah? Got it? In other words, we're trying to avoid pushing down with the left hand. We're trying to avoid pushing down. We don't want to do that. We want to just touch the location, sing the note. Here's the note. Da. Oh, fucking good cigarettes. Da 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 da. Did I get that right? Da. No, I didn't. Da da da. Da 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 da. So you train your ear, right? Train your ear. Train your ear by touching the notes and singing them, right? Okay, then the next step you could do is, okay, we did that. Okay, open strings. Da, there's E, right? Now you can just touch a location. Let's start with a coffee. Those fucking excellent cigarettes I smoke. I gotta start vaping. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start that tonight. Just vape all night long. Fuck it. All right, here we go. We got E. So major scale, right? You guys know whole step, half step. Da 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 da. Check yourself, right? Hit that note. Da. That's close. Da 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 do 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 do. My voice won't go that high. Plus, I don't vape enough to make sure it works. You guys gotta help me out here, man. Anyway, just kidding. Maybe. So you go up the string, E major, da 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 da, and go to E minor, da 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 da. Got to get that for the minor, right? Minor third, da 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 da. So you can go each string. There's B, da 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 da, 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 da. Minor. Da, 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 da. Use this time to train your ears with the fingerboard. What else you got going on, you know? I mean, you could still touch the string, memorize the patterns, and then you sing the notes while you're touching the string. Right? That way you're not putting any stress by pushing down if you got tendonitis. Other than that, we've got all these exercises. Now, of course, we can do this. Like if we go D, D, okay. So we've got I tuned high E down to a D, and we do that because it sounds less irritating than the open strings. We got a little chord here. Just to make it less irritating, you know. Then you can do it with a pick. And then double up. And go back and forth. Triple up. And then 4 notes. So there's a world of possibilities to practice your hybrid or your finger picking or your picking styles, which you probably need to do more of. And all you guys need to do more ear training. I know for a fact, because nobody does it. You know, the only people who do ear training are those guys that are the voice majors in college who have to sing operatic scales with a piano player behind them, and they warm up, you know, la 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 la, and they change key and they do it again. Those are the people that do ear training all the time. Ear training is a very, very important thing to do in music, and there's a multitude of ways of doing it. But this is just one way: is to take advantage of your time that you're recovering from tendonitis, and just touch the string. Here's the note. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Train your ear by just touching the string. Touch the location. You're not even pushing down. But again, if it hurts to do that, don't. Just back away. Let it rest. You know, you gotta realize this thing can take 12 weeks to heal. Sometimes 16 weeks if you screw around and try practice. If you practice a lot, one of the hardest things to do is to stop practicing because it's addictive. But man, I'm telling you, don't John Goodsall yourself out, because he practiced with tendonitis and it got worse and it got worse and it got worse, and he had to wear a brace all the time, 24/7, every day, and then he had to drop out of playing in a band. It got so bad because all those tendons developed scar tissue, and it inflamed inside the sheaths, so he couldn't move them at all. You know, and then he had surgery on it. All that. You don't want to go down that road. You don't want to do the surgery thing. You know, now there's some supplements you could take too that will help the tendonitis. And the first one is serrapeptase. It's the silkworm enzyme that consumes dead protein tissues. That's a good one, serrapeptase. And then, of course, you've got turmeric. Turmeric is a really good supplement. Take 2-3 of those a couple times a day, and inflammation goes down. And another one in addition to turmeric is boswellia. 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 Go to YouTube and watch all these videos on boswellia, turmeric, serrapeptase, serrapeptase. Those are the greatest three. Then you've got a whole bunch of people swearing by glucosamine and chondroitin and MSM. Some people say it doesn't work. Some people say it works like a miracle. You know, you got to see if it works for you. The glucosamine chondroitin is widely manufactured now. You can get it at a local vitamin store. The serrapeptase you can get on Amazon. You can get it online. You can get them at more knowledgeable vitamin stores. Turmeric, you got to get the turmeric that has black pepper in it. Don't get the ones without it. The black pepper increases its efficiency. So you got all those in the boswellia. Now the next one is it's more for arthritis. It's called moringa leaf. Moringa leaf. Moringa, boswellia, and turmeric. And then MSM, glucosamine, and chondroitin. Those are all really good. Really good for inflammation, you know. Omega-3s are really good for inflammation. You can take omega-3s, flaxseed oil, fish oil. You know, I mean, you guys can research all that on your own. But I'm telling you that I've been taking turmeric, I've been taking serrapeptase, and I've been taking boswellia, and that's about it, you know. The moringa is more for arthritis, and so I haven't been taking the moringa leaf. It's more for the arthritic condition. And the MSM is good for arthritis. The glucosamine is good for arthritis. But the turmeric is, you got to keep turmeric. You should keep turmeric. If you're a guitar player, you should have a bottle of turmeric with black pepper all the time. And, you know, you should have, if you have swelling, scar tissue, etc., serrapeptase. Now, you got to be careful. Serrapeptase and omega-3s together. You can't take those if you're on any kind of blood thinners, you know, like Waferin or any of those Coumadin and all those blood thinners. Don't, you know, aspirin. They can thin your blood too much. Omega-3s are a little blood thinner. Serrapeptase is a blood thinner. Even flaxseed oil can thin the blood a little bit. Great for heart patients, you know, great for people that are working on their cholesterol and all that stuff. Serrapeptase also eats up cholesterol in your arteries, which is really good. Watch some videos on it. Serrapeptase, watch some videos on turmeric. You know, watch some videos on boswellia. You know, go to Dr. Mandel, go to Bob and Brad. All these video guys on YouTube are really, really good. You know, Dr. Furman, Dr. Mandel, Bob and Brad. And then, you know, you got to just go in the search engines. Boswellia. There's a couple that's a family farmer couple that they swear by moringa leaf. And they talk about moringa leaf, how it cured the guy's arthritis in his back and all that stuff. You do all the research on your own. That's your due diligence, you know. I can just show you here from what I know is I've had tendonitis a couple, 3 times in my life. And the first time I got it, I got really lucky because I was a patient of Dr. Arlo Gordon. And what I was going for originally was I had some kinks in my neck and my shoulders, etc. And then Brian Carroll recommended him to me, and I went out and saw him, and I had some really, really good results going to see him. And he had these lectures. Every Tuesday night he would have a lecture on chiropractic care, and I attended the series of lectures 12 times, 12 lectures, and took notes and all that. So I was very educated on chiropractic care. Another thing is chiropractors. The last one is acupuncturists are really good at helping people with, you know, pain, you know, tendonitis, pain. Acupuncturists are really good. However, The tendonitis is a swelling of the tendons underneath the sheath. So anything you can bring that swelling down, the turmeric, the boswellia, the serapeptase. The serapeptase brings the swelling down too. And then don't use it. Don't exert your hand. You're going to screw yourself up if you try practicing with tendonitis unless you do the tendonitis practicing routine, which I'm inventing today for you guys, which is just touch the location of the string to memorize the scale pattern, sing the notes while you touch them. You need to do the ear training anyway. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me that they need to do more ear training. And this is a good segment of time you can spend working on your ear training. You'll see some really good results. Okay, any questions, put them in the comments. Pepper Brown, over and out for now.